up everyone! So continuing the Venice Film Festival coverage, today's movie I'm discussing on the channel is the latest film from master filmmaker Park Chan-wook called No Other Choice. At first I thought this was an original idea from Park Chan-wook, but it's actually an adaptation of the 1997 book by Donald E. Westlake called The Axe, and this book has been adapted into a movie once before, back in 2005, by Costa Gavras. Before we dive in, if you guys are new to my channel and are enjoying my Venice Film Festival coverage, please do consider supporting me by hitting that subscribe button and hitting the like button for me. Okay, it's great for the algorithm, helps me to grow my channel, and I'm getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers, which will really mean a lot to me when I get there, so you can help me get there a little bit faster if you do so. Alright, let's dive into the video. Some of you guys that are already watching will know that I am a big Park Chan-wook fan. I was a huge defender of his previous film Decision to Leave, and I was really pissed off that he was overlooked for Best Director that year at the Academy Awards. It was one of the best directed films that year, but just kind of flew under the radar. BAFTA got it right, but the Academy sadly didn't. But that's why it gives me great joy to say that his newest film, No Other Choice, could actually be the film that finally lands him his first long overdue Best Director nomination at the Academy Awards, and No Other Choice overall could be a huge award season player, but we can talk about its award season chances later in the vid. Plot-wise, No Other Choice tells the story of a paper factory worker called Yeom-seok, played in this film by Squid Game baddie Jung Young-byung. Lee Byung-hun. I was nowhere near! Jung Young-byung? What the fuck is that, Luke? Wasn't even close. Wasn't in the ballpark. Wasn't even on this planet. Sorry, he is played by Squid Game baddie Lee Byung-hun. Yeah, I don't know where the other words came from. Apologies to all the Korean people I might have offended there. This film starts in Mansu's garden where he's having a barbecue with his family. He's cooking some very expensive eels that were gifted to him by his new American bosses. He's looking around and taking stock of his beautiful life. He's got a loving wife played by son Ye-jin, two beautiful kids, the youngest of which is a cello-playing progeny, and he also owns this beautiful house which he himself grew up in. And as the cherry blossom petals fall around him, he exclaims to the world, "I've got it all." That is, until he doesn't. Little does he know that his American bosses are downsizing the company with massive layoffs, and despite 25 years of loyal service, Mansu is made redundant. The eels that he received for his barbecue were just a gesture from the corporate overlords to help cushion the blow of the firing. And actually, Mansu is devastated. Mansu plans to get back on his feet and find another job which will pay a similar salary to what he had before within the next 3 months, but soon those 3 months turn into 13 months with only a side job of him stacking shelves, and also his wife has to pick up a part-time job as a dental hygienist just so they can get by, with each subsequent luxury that the family has to sacrifice in order to keep their heads above water, whether it's the car, the 2 dogs, his wife's tennis lessons, and most hilariously, the Netflix subscription. Mansu really does begin to feel like a failure in front of his wife and kids. And when he learns that they're 3 months away from the bank foreclosing on their house, Mansu resorts to drastic measures in order to find a job that will save his house and his family. He applies for a job at a rival paper company called New Moon, which goes disastrously wrong, but soon after realizes that if he murders the person who has his desired job, as well as any other candidates that might be qualified for it, then this New Moon paper company will have no other choice but to hire him for the job. And that is all the plot you need to know. So what did I think of No Other Choice? Short answer, I thought this was great, and I would be very surprised if No Other Choice didn't end up collecting a prize here at Venice. It's gonna pick up something, whether it's the Best Actor Volpe Cup for Lee Byung-hun, maybe the Silver Lion for Best Director for Park Chan-wook, or I could even see this potentially even going all the way and winning the Golden Lion, getting the top prize at Venice. But if it doesn't win that, it will win something. We'll find out in a few days' time. I've heard a lot of people comparing No Other Choice to Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, which makes a lot of sense. It is an apt comparison because they're both scathing black comedies about capitalism and are centered around a family which has to resort to unethical methods in order to survive, and they also primarily take place in a lavish house. Personally, I don't think No Other Choice is as good as Parasite, because Parasite is one of the few films which are actually labeled as a masterpiece over the last 5-10 years. Like, I only use that classification for the truly special films, and while this film is great, I'm not going to label it as a masterpiece, but it's still a fantastic watch, which is both darkly funny and surprisingly deeply resonant despite its cartoony slapstick violence in places. It's commenting on something which is an ever-growing fear for many of us, which is how the advancement of artificial intelligence will make many of our jobs obsolete. And it's also about a universal struggle about how damn difficult it is to find a decent paying job. It's a subject that transcends its South Korean setting. Who of us hasn't become accustomed to the cutthroat world of the job market? The title of the book that this film is based on is called The Axe, and you know, getting the axe is a term for getting fired. So Park Chan-wook is taking this relatable struggle and taking it to the extreme for maximum entertainment. It's bloody fun satire, but you also might find yourself identifying with the characters and their situation more than you care to admit. Lee Byung-hun is brilliant as our anti-hero Mansu. This is a story about masculinity in crisis and the societal and cultural expectations for men to be providers. And it is so entertaining to watch Mansu sink to the lowest depths just so he can retain his like middle class status. This is such a farcical performance from him because, as it turns out, he doesn't know the first thing about killing people. So it's hysterical watching him get into certain situations like breaking into somebody's house whilst wearing an oven mitt, or watching him get drenched as he picks up a plant pot that he wants to drop on someone's head, or seeing him panic when the police show up at his house, who are there for his troublesome son, but he thinks they're there for him, and he's got this giant hole in his front garden, which is like a freshly opened grave that he's dug for one of his victims. It's such a frantic and elastic performance from Lee Byung-hun. In a way, his character in this isn't too dissimilar from his Squid Game co-star Lee Jung-jae's character, because they're both desperate individuals who are both at the end of their rope. So you've got this darkly funny story about this inept killer, but what also makes No Other Choice so much fun to watch is Park Chan-wook's direction, which is so visually striking and audaciously creative. Like, it borders on maximalist, this film, with its crazy close-ups and zooms, slide transitions, and match cuts. He's putting the camera in places that you would never expect it to go. But Park Chan-wook also has a great eye for scope, space, and color. There's a vibrancy to his films which feels very distinct. This is one of those films where you can't help but notice the direction because it is so bold and in your face, and some people might think that sounds obnoxious, but when Park Chan-wook is doing it, it doesn't come across as obnoxious, okay? It's just him operating at the peak of his powers at maximum ingenuity. Like, nobody else is making movies like Park Chan-wook does, at least not to the same level of skill. I do have some negatives to this film, and I know I just said that this film looks gorgeous, and it does for the most, but I will say there were a few shots which looked a bit too clean to the point where they looked fake. There is some CGI in this which does look quite noticeable, like when you see the snake. I also thought the film really took a while to find its stride. Like, it really took some time before the premise was really set up. But at a certain point, the audience knows where the story is going and he's gonna start killing people, but it takes some time before we really get there. And we spend a lot of time for him just to get to the first victim, but yeah, the subsequent victims that come later in the film, they're a bit more slapdash. Part of me wished that we just got through all that a little bit quicker. And while I will say that the ending was satisfying, it did kind of lack that emotional fallout of some of Park Chan-wook's other movies like Decision to Leave, The Handmaiden, or Old Boy. All right, now let's talk about its Oscars chances. Yes, I do think I can see No Other Choice being a big player when it comes to next year's Oscars. In fact, I'm quite certain it will, because the inevitable comparisons of this film to Parasite will definitely inspire a lot of Academy members to watch it, and they are going to have a good time watching it. It's very enjoyable. It also has a lot to say. So I can see a world where the Academy give this film a few nominations. It was an absolute gut punch to me when Decision to Leave didn't get into the best 5 best international feature that year, but I do think that South Korea probably will be submitting No Other Choice as their selection for best international feature this year, and I think it will get in. It just makes sense because if they've got a Park Chan-wook film that they can submit and one that's this good, why wouldn't they? But yeah, I am anticipating this film to play well with the Academy, and if it does win a prize at Venice, I think that will help springboard it into the conversation even more, and if the people at TIFF love it as well, that's only going to add more fuel to the fire. It might even place top 3 at TIFF as well, which will definitely help. But yeah, other categories where it could definitely show up would be Best Picture, absolutely. Best Director, finally, for Park Chan-wook. God, I really, really hope so. This is his year. Best Actor for Lee Byung-hun, because he carries this film on his shoulders. Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Editing. This might be the showiest editing of 2025. And it might have a chance at cinematography as well. What do you guys think? Is No Other Choice destined to be an Oscars player? Do you think it's going to get some nominations? If so, which categories do you think it's going to be nominated for? Do you think it might win any? Or do you think it's going to be like destined to be like Decision to Leave and get completely goose-egged? Whatever you have to say about No Other Choice and its award season prospects, be sure to let me know in that comment section down below. All right, then it's time to ask them 3 questions. Firstly, would I watch this again? 100%. Like, Park Chan-wook's films actually get better on rewatches. So yes, I'm excited to rewatch this again at the London Film Festival, and yeah, I'll be adding it to my collection at some point as well, so yes. Question 2, do I recommend it for you guys? Yes, absolutely. If you're a fan of Parasite or Kind Heart and Coronets or any of the work by Park Chan-wook, then you are going to enjoy this film. It's dark, it's deep, and a deadly fun watch. Go see it when it comes to a cinema near you. And question number 3, what score to give it out of 10? While I had some minor grievances with this film, I was still so ridiculously entertained. I think this is another fantastic addition to the works of Park Chan-wook, so I'm going to give No Other Choice a score of 8.5 out of 10. But as always, guys, it is just one bloke's opinion. I would love to hear your thoughts on No Other Choice. Have you seen it? If you have, what did you make of this film? Whatever you have to say about this film, let your voice be heard in that comment section down below. For more movie, TV, and Oscars-related content, don't forget to click that subscribe button for me. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. For more things related to movies, TV, the Oscars, and popcorn culture, I'm Luke Carefield, and I'll see you next time.